Chosen one, the moment has arrived. You didn't wander here by mistake. Something deep within you has begun to stir, a quiet pulse that no one else can hear. It is the sound of awakening. The ancients say, when the disciple is ready, the path appears. And when awareness begins to rise, it moves fast, sometimes within hours. I am Shi Hengyi, and today I will guide you through an understanding rarely spoken of outside the temple walls. You will learn why the Shaolin path does not start with movement, but with remembrance. You will see that before the warrior trains his body, he must recognize the warrior within. The meditations, the discipline, the stillness, these are not rituals to gain strength. They are ways to meet the part of you that has always been strong. In this lesson, I will show you how the Shaolin monks awaken inner vision through a process of deep noticing. We will explore the forgotten teaching that every act of mindfulness is a mirror, revealing who you already are. You will learn how attention reshapes energy, how breath unveils hidden awareness, and how self-mastery is not earned but remembered. Stay until the end, because the final part of this message carries a key that few ever receive, the moment where knowledge turns into direct seeing. When you truly understand this, a shift will begin within you. Not tomorrow, not someday, within hours. You are not here to be entertained, you are here to awaken. Welcome, my friend, to Shaolin Soulfire, where ancient wisdom meets the modern path of self-mastery. If the fire within you is ready to rise, subscribe now and walk this journey with us. Silence is the first teacher. When the noise of the world presses in, the mind scatters like leaves in a storm. Even the strongest body cannot act with precision if the mind is restless. The Shaolin way begins not with movement, but with the return of attention to the self. Before every strike, every step, every breath, the practitioner looks inward. This is where true power quietly waits. I have walked the halls where the wind carries only whispers, where each footfall is measured, yet the mind is free. Modern life pulls attention in countless directions. Notifications, worries, endless tasks. Each one fragments the mind until the body moves, but the soul drifts. The first act of mastery is simple, yet profound. Pause. Stand still. Listen. Observe the flow of thought as if it were a river passing beneath your gaze, without trying to stop it, without needing to grasp it. In these hours, you can feel the subtle tremors of emotion, the tension hiding in muscles, the quiet insistence of breath. Notice without judgment. Watch the mind wander and gently guide it back. This is not effort, it is remembrance. Awareness grows not from forcing clarity, but from returning, moment by moment, to the center. When you attend fully to what arises within, every sensation, every thought, every subtle stir of feeling, a strange thing occurs. The veil begins to lift. Patterns reveal themselves. Impulses that once controlled you now stand as signs to be understood. In this stillness, the scattered fragments of your attention come together, forming a single, unbroken line of sight. It is here, in the quiet watching of the self, that the first true glimpse of mastery begins. Freedom is not what most believe. It is not endless options, unchecked desire, or the absence of rules. True freedom is born within boundaries, through discipline that shapes the mind and body into a single instrument. The Shaolin have long understood this paradox. The more one practices restraint, the more the soul moves without resistance. Within hours, the choice becomes simple yet profound. Focus on breath, hold posture with calm precision, allow silence to fill the spaces between thoughts. Each act, though small, becomes a declaration. The mind is no longer captive to every fleeting impulse. Anger rises, but it does not lead. Craving stirs, but it is met with quiet recognition. Distraction knocks, yet attention returns. Again and again, like a river flowing back to its source. Discipline is not punishment. It is a canvas for inner mastery. The body learns to move with intention. The mind learns to pause before reacting. And in that pause, a new freedom emerges. The freedom to act with clarity rather than compulsion, to speak with wisdom rather than habit, to choose with vision rather than impulse. In the quiet repetition of practice, the boundaries of self expand. What once seemed limiting now becomes liberating. Each restraint is not a denial, but a gateway. Every disciplined moment is a seed of sovereignty over one's own mind. The paradox reveals itself. The tighter the structure, the lighter the spirit, the stronger the habit of self-control, the more effortless the flow of life. By choosing discipline in these hours, the doorway opens. The habitual reactions that once ruled the inner world are softened. In their place grows presence, awareness, and a calm authority over oneself. It is here, in the embrace of restraint, that the first true taste of freedom is found. The body remembers what the mind often forgets. In Shaolin practice, movement and meditation are not separate paths. They are one continuous thread, weaving awareness through every muscle, every breath, every heartbeat. True mastery arises not from thought alone, but from the dialogue between body and mind, a harmony that must be felt before it can be understood. In these hours, attention turns inward. Feel the weight of your body on the ground, the subtle rise and fall of the chest with each breath. Sense the tension hiding in shoulders, the quiet contraction of muscles you never knew were holding stress. As awareness settles into the body, the nervous system softens, the mind slows, and a space opens where clarity can take root. Movement becomes meditation, and meditation becomes movement, each guiding the other toward balance and strength. Internal strength is born from this union. It is the strength that does not rely on force, but on precision, presence, and timing. The practitioner learns to respond rather than react, to flow rather than resist. The mind observes the body informs the mind, and in that continuous exchange, a subtle power emerges, one that is calm, steady, and unshakable. Even the simplest gestures carry depth. A breath held with attention, a stance maintained with awareness, a motion executed with care. Each becomes an exercise in integration. Through repetition and mindful observation, the body becomes a map of consciousness, a living guide to inner mastery. When the body and mind move as one, the ordinary transforms. Thoughts gain clarity, emotions stabilize, and impulses soften. Mastery is no longer a distant goal. It becomes a lived experience. In the hours ahead, as awareness deepens through movement and stillness, the seeds of internal strength take root, and the quiet power of unity begins to reveal itself. Calm does not exist without its counterpart. The Shaolin teachings remind us that tension and ease, stress and peace are two sides of the same coin. To know one without the other is to live in illusion. Life stirs turbulence within, a knot of worry, a pulse of anxiety, a flicker of frustration. These are not enemies. They are messengers, guiding the attentive mind toward understanding. In the hours ahead, the practice is simple yet profound. Do not flee from what arises. Observe the inner turbulence as it moves through the body. Notice the tightening in the chest, the clenching of the jaw, the restless currents of thought. Do not judge, do not resist. The Shaolin way teaches that every sensation, every surge of stress is a doorway if approached with awareness. Breathe into the tension. Let the breath flow through constriction like water flowing through a narrow stream. With each exhale, allow the body to soften, to release what no longer serves. In this cycle of noticing, accepting, and releasing, a subtle clarity emerges. The mind becomes a calm lake, not because the waves never rise, but because it has learned to hold space for them and let them pass. This is the paradox of mastery. To cultivate peace, one must first embrace disturbance. To hold stillness, one must first move through unrest. Each moment of tension becomes a teacher, each release a revelation. By welcoming both sides, by stepping into the friction rather than away from it, the inner landscape reshapes itself. Awareness deepens, choices become clearer, impulses lose their grip. Within hours, this practice transforms ordinary experience. The storms inside no longer dictate action. Instead, each wave becomes part of a rhythm, each surge part of a dance. In learning to move with opposites, the practitioner discovers the true essence of calm, not the absence of tension, but the mastery of it. The present is all there is. The monks teach that past and future are shadows, illusions that pull the mind away from what truly exists. Regret whispers of what cannot be changed. Fear warns of what may never come. But in this very moment, in the rise and fall of the breath, the subtle sensations of the body, the quiet rhythm of the surroundings, life reveals itself in clarity. Attention is the doorway. Turn it inward and outward simultaneously. Feel the air moving across the skin. Hear the faintest sounds that usually go unnoticed. Notice the texture of thoughts as they pass. Each observation roots the mind in now. Each inhale grounds the spirit. Each exhale releases the pull of what has been and what may be. In this practice, the world is no longer a threat or a distraction. It becomes a teacher, a mirror reflecting presence itself. In these hours, you will see how effortless awareness can be when the mind is not chasing. The shift does not come from striving, but from noticing. There is a quiet magic in simply being. The heart slows, tension dissolves, and patterns that once seemed hidden become visible. Presence allows the mind to act with clarity rather than reaction, to respond with understanding rather than habit. The path of mastery is not in accumulating knowledge or seeking outcomes. It is in the constant return to this moment, again and again, like waves folding into the shore. The more attention rests here, the more the mind learns its natural rhythm. Choices become subtle and precise. Energy flows freely, unblocked by distraction or worry. To live fully in the now is to step into power that is always available. Within hours, as the mind settles into attentive presence, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. The simplest breath, the softest sound, the quietest sensation, all become portals to awareness. Here, mastery begins not in doing, but in simply being. True power begins with choice. Life moves in ways beyond control. Events unfold without permission, and circumstances often test the spirit. Yet the Shaolin teachings remind us control is not found in changing the world, but in mastering one's response to it. The chosen one does not wait for fortune or fate. They meet reality fully, with calm attention and unwavering presence. Within hours, this practice begins simply. Notice the impulses that arise when situations shift. Observe the surge of irritation, fear, or doubt. See how habits quietly direct action. The first act of mastery is to step back, to witness without immediately reacting. In that pause lies freedom. Here, response replaces reflex, choice replaces compulsion. Radical responsibility is not burden, it is liberation. To take ownership of the mind, to align focus with intention, to train habits with care. These are acts of sovereignty over the self. When anger rises, choose patience. When distraction calls, choose attention. When fear whispers, choose clarity. Each deliberate act reshapes the inner landscape, building strength that no external force can erode. The posture of the chosen one is steady and grounded. It is not a shield from life, but a declaration that life will not command the inner world. Every moment becomes a test and an opportunity. The body responds, the mind observes, the heart discerns. With practice, mastery becomes natural, and the small choices compound into profound transformation. As awareness grows, the ordinary becomes a field for cultivation. Thoughts, emotions, and impulses are no longer chains but instruments. By lifting attention, refining focus, and directing energy with care, the practitioner steps into freedom not granted by circumstance but claimed from within. In this quiet reclaiming of self, the first true mastery is realized. True mastery lies not in extremes. The Shaolin and Buddhist teachings call this the middle way, a path neither of harsh denial nor of endless indulgence. It is the subtle art of balance, a rhythm that honors both discipline and ease, effort and surrender. The mind that swings between excess and avoidance never rests. The one who finds the middle discovers a quiet strength that carries through every moment. In the next hours, attention turns to rhythm. Notice where the body tenses, where the mind races, where habits pull too far in one direction. Do not force correction with harshness, nor drift into complacency. Instead, align each action with measured intent. The posture is steady, the breath calm, the focus present. Even small adjustments, a pause here, a release there, create a flow that guides energy smoothly, like a river finding its channel. The middle way is not simply moderation, it is awareness of the subtle spaces, the threshold between too much and too little. It is where strength meets softness, where persistence meets patience, where self-control meets compassion. Here, decisions are guided not by impulse or avoidance, but by attentive discernment. Each choice becomes a reflection of balance, each movement a manifestation of harmony. By practicing this way, mastery becomes a living experience. Extremes no longer dominate the inner world. Energy moves without obstruction, focus remains clear, and the mind maintains calm even when challenges arise. The middle way teaches that power is found not in force, but in attunement, that freedom is discovered not in excess, but in equilibrium. In these hours, cultivate this balance. Let neither intensity nor passivity take the lead. Find the rhythm within yourself, where action flows naturally, attention remains steady, and the quiet power of the middle way begins to shape every thought, every breath, every step. Stillness is not the absence of movement, it is presence within it. The Shaolin warrior moves through the world without haste, without panic, yet every gesture carries precision and power. Life swirls with chaos, obligations, interruptions, and distractions. Yet the mind that has trained in stillness remains steady, like a tree rooted in the wind. True mastery is measured not by the quiet of surroundings, but by the calm held in the midst of motion. In these hours, the practice is simple but subtle. Let tasks unfold without urgency. Observe interruptions as they arise without letting them seize control. Notice thoughts and emotions moving like currents in a river and allow them to pass without judgment. The body continues its actions, the world continues its pace, yet the mind remains anchored. Breath becomes the tether, steady and deep, connecting presence to every step, every motion, every choice. Stillness in motion is cultivated, not granted. It is a discipline of attention, a practice of returning again and again to the center when waves of distraction surge. Each time the mind wanders, each time impulse rises, the act of returning to calm strengthens the inner foundation. The chosen one is recognized in this way, not by feats of strength or knowledge alone, but by the ability to remain centered when everything else moves around them. This quiet power is a shield and a guide. Decisions come with clarity, actions flow with efficiency. Even in moments of stress, the mind retains its horizon, unshaken and lucid. In learning to cultivate stillness amidst motion, mastery ceases to be a distant ideal. It becomes a lived experience, a presence that moves through the world with ease, clarity, and quiet authority, untouched by the storms that swirl around. To witness is to awaken. True mastery begins not with changing the world, but with observing it, and first, observing oneself. The Shaolin path teaches that the mind, body, and life are mirrors reflecting one another. When attention rests as witness, patterns hidden beneath the surface emerge, impulses, attachments, habitual reactions, all become visible in the still clarity of awareness. In these hours, practice turning inward with calm attention. Watch thoughts as they rise and fall, like clouds drifting across a white sky. Notice the subtle urges that drive actions, the quiet fears that shape decisions, the habitual cravings that pull energy away. Observe the body, its tension, its posture, the stories it carries silently. Nothing is forced, nothing is judged. Simply seeing is the first act of mastery. Recognition is freedom. The moment a pattern is witnessed, it loses its power to unconsciously control you. Anger is no longer a chain, desire no longer a master, distraction no longer a thief. Awareness illuminates the mechanics of the self. It reveals the architecture of habits and the roots of impulses. The mind is no longer a hidden ruler. It becomes a landscape that can be understood, navigated, and guided. This witnessing transforms ordinary experience into insight. Every sensation, every thought, every reaction becomes a message, a lesson waiting to be received. Mastery is not a distant attainment. It is the ongoing practice of observing, understanding, and choosing with clarity. Within hours, this simple yet profound act changes everything. To see oneself clearly is to step into freedom. The veil lifts and life begins to unfold with transparency and depth. The chosen one does not chase mastery, they witness it, they see the currents within and move with them, no longer hidden, no longer driven, but fully awake to the life they inhabit and the self they are becoming. We have walked together through the path of awakening, from hearing the quiet call within, to turning inward with mindful attention, to discovering that discipline is freedom and that true power arises when body and mind move as one. We have seen how embracing opposites, living fully in the present, taking ownership of our responses, following the middle way, and cultivating stillness amidst motion all lead to the final understanding, witnessing ourselves with clarity and calm. When you commit to this practice now, within hours, you begin to feel the shift. Life moves with greater ease, thoughts settle, choices become clearer, and a quiet strength rises from within. This is not a fleeting insight, but a lived experience, the wisdom of the Shaolin way becoming part of your everyday rhythm. Apply these lessons gently in your life. Pause to observe your mind, align your breath and posture, welcome tension as a teacher, respond with awareness, and find balance in every action. In these small, mindful steps, mastery unfolds. Remember, the journey is not towards some distant achievement, but into the depth of your own being. As you walk this path, the chosen one within awakens, calm, centered, and free. If this teaching resonates, carry it with you, practice it, and let it guide your days. Welcome each moment as an opportunity to awaken further. Thank you for joining us. If you wish to continue exploring the wisdom of the Shaolin way, subscribe to Shaolin Soulfire and walk this path with us. Like, share, and return often, for the practice is in the living and the awakening never ends.